The hospice ride. 117, Harley-Davidsons surrounded a hospital bed mounted on a flatbed trailer. On that bed lay an 11-year-old boy connected to IV tubes, oxygen tanks, and heart monitors. Connor Hayes had 3 weeks to live, maybe less. Today, he was going to ride. Connor's obsession with motorcycles had started before the cancer came back. He'd spent countless hours watching Harley videos, memorizing engine specs, drawing custom bikes. His hospital room walls were covered in motorcycle posters. "Mom, I want to ride a motorcycle before I die," Connor had said 5 days ago, his voice weak but determined. His mother, Jennifer's heart shattered. She went to Dr. Patricia Morrison with the request. "I understand," Dr. Morrison said gently. "But Connor is on continuous IV medications. His immune system is non-existent. Taking him outside could kill him within hours." "He's dying anyway," Jennifer whispered. "In 3 weeks, he'll be gone. What if he could die happy?" "The hospital would never approve it. The liability, my son has one wish. One. And you're telling me paperwork matters more?" Dr. Morrison looked away. "My hands are tied." A night nurse named Marcus overheard. He'd worked pediatric oncology for 12 years and watched too many children die with unfulfilled wishes. "There's a group," Marcus whispered to Jennifer during his shift. "Bikers who do final rides for dying kids. I know someone." He made one phone call. By morning, Diesel Coleman, president of the Iron Riders MC, stood in the hospital parking lot with a plan that seemed impossible. "We can't take him on a motorcycle. It would kill him," Diesel explained when he met Jennifer. "But we can bring the ride to him." He showed her photos on his phone, a hospital bed on a flatbed trailer, surrounded by medical equipment, and circling it, dozens of motorcycles. "We build a mobile hospital on wheels, put Connor on it, surround him with bikes, let him feel the wind, hear the engines, see the road." "How much would this cost?" "Nothing. We cover everything. All you need is one nurse willing to ride with him." Marcus stepped forward. "I'll do it. I'll take vacation days." Dr. Morrison said no at first. Then Connor appeared in her office doorway, barely able to stand, IV pole in hand. "Please, Dr. Morrison. I'm dying. I know it. Just let me ride once. Then I'll come back and die quietly. But please, let me ride first." Dr. Morrison's eyes filled with tears. She looked at the small boy, asking for one moment of joy before darkness claimed him. "I'm riding with him," she said finally. "If Connor crashes, I need to be there." Diesel smiled. "Yes, ma'am." The Iron Riders had 36 hours to build the impossible. 80 bikers worked non-stop, converting a flatbed trailer into a mobile hospice unit. A hospital bed bolted to the center. IV poles welded in place, battery-powered monitors, oxygen tanks secured in custom holders. They painted it midnight blue, Connor's favorite color. On the side, silver letters, "Connor's Ride." On the morning of the ride, 117 motorcycles showed up. Not just Iron Riders. Bandidos, Hell's Angels, outlaws, clubs that sometimes hated each other, united for one dying boy. They dressed Connor in a small leather vest, custom-made overnight. On the back, "Honorary Rider, Iron Riders MC." "This means you're one of us now," Diesel said, kneeling beside Connor's wheelchair. "Forever." Connor's thin fingers touched the patch reverently. "Really? Really? You're a brother." They wheeled Connor outside. He hadn't been outside in 43 days. Sunlight hit his face, and he closed his eyes, smiling. Then he heard it. 117 motorcycles started their engines simultaneously. The sound was thunder, was dragons, was freedom itself. Connor's eyes flew open. Tears streamed down his face. "That's the most beautiful sound I've ever heard." They carefully transferred him to the bed on the trailer. Marcus and Dr. Morrison climbed up, checking vitals, adjusting IVs. Jennifer sat beside her son, holding his hand. Diesel approached on his black Harley-Davidson. "You ready, Connor?" "Where are we going?" "Wherever you want. We've got fuel for 500 miles. You tell us when to turn around." Connor looked at his mother, then at the sea of motorcycles surrounding him. "Let's ride forever." They rolled out of the hospital parking lot at 9:17 a.m. 117 motorcycles formed a protective convoy around Connor's trailer, front, back, both sides, a moving fortress of chrome and leather. Connor lay propped up so he could see everything. The motorcycles, the road disappearing beneath him, the endless sky overhead. And most importantly, he could hear the engines, that beautiful thundering roar. "Faster!" Connor shouted over the noise. Diesel accelerated. The convoy moved faster, engines roaring louder. Connor laughed, a sound his mother hadn't heard in months. They rode through 3 counties, past farmland and mountains, through small towns where people stopped and stared and waved. Word spread on social media. Connor's ride started trending. People lined the roads holding signs. "Ride strong, Connor. You're a hero. We love you." Connor waved at them all, a fragile boy on a hospital bed, surrounded by warriors on motorcycles, riding toward whatever remained of his life. At mile 150, Connor shouted over the engines, "Can we go through a McDonald's drive-thru?" 117 bikers laughed. They did. The cashier's face was priceless when she saw the convoy and the hospital bed at the center. Connor got a milkshake. He could barely drink it, but he smiled the whole time. At mile 287, alarms started beeping. Dr. Morrison watched the monitors with alarm. "Oxygen levels dropping. Heart rate irregular." "Should we turn back?" Diesel called over the radio. Marcus checked Connor's face. The boy was pale, struggling to breathe, but smiling. "Connor, how do you feel?" "Tired," Connor whispered, "but happy, so happy. Do you want to go back to the hospital?" Connor's hand gripped Marcus's arm with surprising strength. "No, please, keep riding." Jennifer looked at Dr. Morrison. "How long does he have?" "Hours, maybe less if we keep pushing." "Then we keep riding," Jennifer said firmly. "He wanted to ride. Let him ride." They adjusted medications, increased oxygen, and kept rolling. The sun began to set, painting the sky in oranges and purples. Connor watched it all, his eyes full of wonder. "Mom," he whispered, "this is the best day of my life." Jennifer sobbed, holding his hand. "Mine too, baby. Mine too." At mile 412, Connor asked them to stop. They pulled over at a scenic overlook, mountains stretching in every direction, sunset painting, everything gold. Connor wanted to sit up. Dr. Morrison and Marcus carefully adjusted the bed, supporting his fragile body. 117 bikers dismounted and gathered around the trailer, forming a circle. Connor looked at them all. These tough, scarred, dangerous-looking men and women who'd spent their day making a dying boy's dream come true. "Thank you," Connor said, his voice barely audible. "I always wanted to be like you. Strong, free, brave." Diesel stepped forward, his voice thick with emotion. "Connor, you're braver than all of us combined. We just ride motorcycles. You're fighting death itself. And today, you won. Today, you got a ride. Today, you were free." Connor smiled. "I'm ready now. I'm ready to rest." The bikers, one by one, approached the trailer. Each touched Connor's hand. Each whispered goodbye. Some cried openly. These hardened warriors wept for a child they'd known for one day, but would remember forever. They rode the final 88 miles in complete silence, except for the engines. Connor fell asleep around mile 450. His breathing grew shallow. Heart rate slowed. Dr. Morrison kept him comfortable with medication, but everyone knew what was coming. They rolled back into the hospital parking lot at 11:43 p.m., 14 hours after leaving. 512 miles traveled. 117 motorcycles still surrounding Connor's trailer. Connor never woke up again. He died 2 days later at 3:17 a.m., with his mother holding his hand and his leather vest draped over his chest. But before he died, Connor left something behind. In his final conscious hours, he'd drawn one last picture: a boy on a hospital bed, surrounded by motorcycles, flying through the sky. Above it, in shaky handwriting, "I rode with angels." The Iron Riders framed that drawing. It hangs in their clubhouse today. Below it, a plaque: Connor Hayes, age 11, rode 512 miles, died happy, never forgotten. Dr. Morrison now works exclusively with hospice care, running a program called Final Ride that helps terminally ill patients achieve wishes hospitals won't approve. Marcus quit his hospital job and rides full-time with the Iron Riders, coordinating medical support for final wish rides. He's helped 23 more children ride before dying. The Iron Riders do 6 to 8 final rides per year. The trailer Connor rode on, repainted and updated, is used for every ride. They call it Connor's Chariot. Jennifer Hayes speaks at cancer fundraisers, telling Connor's story. She always ends the same way. "My son had 3 weeks to live. He spent one day doing what he loved most. That one day gave him more joy than 3 weeks in a hospital bed ever could. Time isn't what matters. Moments are. Sometimes dying children just want a ride. Sometimes hospitals say no. And sometimes 117 bikers say yes and make the impossible happen." Connor Hayes rode 512 miles surrounded by thunder and love. He died 2 days later, but he died having lived more in one day than most people live in a lifetime. Diesel always says when telling the story, "That kid taught us something. He taught us that living isn't about time, it's about moments." Those 512 miles, those 14 hours, that was more living than some people do in 80 years. Sometimes the bravest people are the smallest. Sometimes the most beautiful moments happen on the edge of death. And sometimes 117 bikers become angels for a dying boy who just wanted to feel the wind and hear the engines roar. Connor rode. Connor smiled. Connor died happy. And that, more than anything, is what matters most.